Hi, Jaclyn. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, and thank you so much for having me as a guest.
Wow. Beautiful. And you see, just like I mentioned before we step in, thank you for being here. You say, I truly appreciate it. And that's going to lead to me saying this, and I say this often, okay? I want to thank you, Jaclyn, for two things. Number one, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. You see, I feel like this is important to say. And I say this to all of my guests all the time because we've got to appreciate the effort that people put into becoming the amazing person that they are. And oftentimes, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, I was on that particular road some months back, and there was this mango tree by the roadside. And you see, the mango tree didn't catch my attention at all. Why? Because it's got no mangoes on it and it doesn't look attractive at all. So I just walked past it and, went my way. But you see, just recently, Jacqueline, I was on that same road. But this time around, there's a great difference. And I sighted the mango tree from a distance. It caught my attention pretty good that I got the urge to move closer and have a good look. Then when I got closer, it wowed me because this time around it's got a lot of mangoes on it, and not just mangoes but ripe mangoes, and it looks so attractive and beautiful. It was amazing. So the point is the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today. That fact has made it really impossible for me to not find you and your work attractive. You see, what you're doing, the impact you're making on your inside, it's so attractive that I cannot just ignore it. So thank you so very much for becoming this amazing person that you are. And secondly, thank you for being here. Myself and the audience truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Thank you. That's a beautiful story. Mangoes happen to also be one of my favorite fruits.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have Jacqueline on the show for some reasons, alright? Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. You see, Jacqueline, I believe that before one can move from a terrible situation to a good one, it's got to take the application of knowledge. Not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see, Jacqueline, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge, and darkness means ignorance. I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. You know why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. Yeah, I just do not want to take that risk. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Jacqueline on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, Jacqueline, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. How to do this and how to do that. So these folks trust me for quality information. And I'm excited right now because I believe our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Jacqueline, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We are just so curious, right? We want to know how you got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Jacqueline, over to you.
Okay, so first of all, again, thank you so much for having me. My journey is both personal and professional. So, you know, if I go back to when I was a kid and I think back to how I grew up, by all intents and purposes, if you had the bird's eye view, you would see and think probably, my God, great family, parents stayed together, grew up with a good background, not super wealthy, but not dirt poor. Did we struggle? Yes, I think all families do. But in actuality, and by looking at it, it was like a great family. But their struggles within our family that from the inside were very difficult. And they had a huge impact on me. I was very insecure at the time kid. And it took me probably till mid to actually gain confidence. And, I went to college. I went to a great university. I loved it. I went to Carnegie Mellon, amazing school. I always kid around and I tell people that I talked my way into school, but it was very competitive. And this is a key thing, that no matter what you are, if you want to do something and you can succeed. So I excelled when I was at school. I did, were my grades all hundreds, all A's? No, but I did well. I mean, I made dean's list a couple of times, which at that school was 3.75. And my point is that in saying that, it's really, if you put somebody in a situation where they have to level up, trust me, they will rise to the occasion. So I went to college, I got out of school, I was determined to go into magazine publishing. I had some internships, did that. I had a job before I graduated, and all intents and purposes, life would be grand. But there was always something missing. I was always searching and seeking that mentor, that person that was going to lead me into something, and I guess really it's to be that mentor, to take me under their wing. And I never found that person per se until I found it within myself. And that is where, I guess you could say, I realized that in so many ways. I was always pushing myself, but I reached a point where I said, I got married, I had kids, and I was always pushing myself. And then when you have kids, things change, right? And I had two major aha moments, where one was, I was VP of sales for this company, and I'm sitting around, I had my second kid, and I'm sitting around with two other women, and we're talking about work and whatever. And one said to the other, that's not probably going to be great for your career. And it was like, oh my God, career. I had forgotten about my career. I forgotten about what I wanted. I was kind of going through the motions and not taking stock in what I was doing from a point of appreciation and gratitude for the position that I had, nor for where I wanted to go next. It had become a job and not a career. And that's a huge difference. I was pushing buttons, I was going through the motions. And so that was sort of one aha moment when I was like, oh my God, I've got to change. I've never done that. I've never had a job. I've always had a career. I had a job when I was a hostess at a restaurant when I was in high school. It wasn't a career. At least that was not what I wanted. And it could be somebody else's career, not mine. And then the next aha moment was as I was driving my kids to school one day, and this was, probably even a couple years later, it was another, what am I doing? I'm still going through the motions. And so that collision of aha moments, I put a line in the sand and I said, no more. I am living my life for my life, and I'm not just existing. I have to live. And I came home and I just wrote out what my vision was. What did I want to do? Where did I want to go? What did I want to see? And it wasn't just the want, it was, what did I need to have in my soul? Where did I need to be going? And when I started writing it out and crafting that vision, and I sat down and I talked to my husband, and then I talked to my kids, we ended up together deciding to make a huge shift. And it's at that point that, so many things happened, but it's the point where I said, I want to help other people, because after I made this shift and I did all this work and I crafted a framework for myself, I ended up moving my family across the country. My husband worked at a different position, and we created a new life. And not that we were running away from something, we were literally closing a door and opening another one to live life to the fullest. And I will tell you, the move was great. I went from Massachusetts to Reno, Nevada. That's a huge difference. I mean, that's East Coast to kind of West Coast. Not exactly. And by the way, like Reno's a beautiful place and it's a beautiful place to live, but it is not the East Coast in any way, shape, or form. So, do we miss things on the East Coast? Yes. Do my kids want to go back? Yes. But there are opportunities here that we were able to take and take advantage of that were not available to us back east. And that's what I want people to understand. I want people to understand that we took this leap, and that's where my company came from, Leap to Your Success, because we took a leap. And I want to help others take those leaps and also be great leaders, because that is also one of the big things that came out, is that not everybody in a family or in a business or a company can be the leader. You need to have people that lead and people that follow, and not follow as in like, I'm meek, I can't. It's more like, I want to follow so I can keep pushing that vision of the leader, because I've caught that vision too. And I want to be part of that. So that was all in 2018. I cannot begin to tell you the amazingness that has happened since then. And I want to make sure everybody else catches that amazingness. Does it happen the same amount of time? No, because everybody's journey is different. But trust me, I want to help you take that leap.
Amazing, Jaclyn. You see, I do not want you to stop talking. You know, listen to you speak is really interesting, and your story. But you see, there are two main things that I picked from your story so far. That part where you mentioned that when you put someone in a situation where they've got to level up, they will definitely level up. I caught that. And secondly, you see, I've got to say this: you have a beautiful family. You spoke to your husband and you spoke to your kids about it, and you guys made a shift. That's amazing. I dare you. And I love that. And thirdly, whenever I listen to people speak, there is something I'm always curious about. And the thing is, I'm always curious about the motive behind what they're doing. Okay, why is Jaclyn doing what she's doing? That's what I've been, trying to find out. And you said it. You said to help people, to bring out the amazingness within them, to help them take that leap and become that amazing leader that they've got to become. That's amazing. I love that. And I feel like that's truly the essence of life, to help one another become the best version of ourselves and, make life become a better place. And that's a good one that you're doing. And oh man, it's really inspiring. I love that. So you've literally answered most of my questions, but I've still got two for you. All right? Okay, let's do it. So, how can one become an unstoppable achiever? Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. Being an unstoppable achiever, it starts with what you want and really your heart. One of the things that I do in my framework with my clients, we go through and craft everybody's vision and mission statement. And to become unstoppable, you have to know deep down that when you're looking and you're looking to do something, that no matter what you do, it's not a sacrifice. It's a step up the stairs. And I say that because some people have it in them where they'll push, and you have to find the grit inside the belly to want to make that extra phone call, to maybe it's to do the extra sit up, or to do the extra push up, or to spend the time making a connection with somebody. And you have to be able to become unstoppable. Again, you have to have that deep belly vision. But you also, when you have that, you have to share it. You have to share the vision with the people you love, because they need to be able to catch it. So that when you say to somebody in your family, I can't make that dinner, they're going to understand. And it's not a sacrifice, it's a step. and it changes people's perspective when they have caught the vision.
Powerful, I got that. So, in other words, one must have a deep conviction about one's destination. You must be very convinced about where you're headed. Your vision is so plain and obvious and so simple that you understand where you're going and why you're going there. I got that. Okay, one last one. Why do people become stagnant, and how can we help people get unstuck? Can you share some tips or insight with us?
It's so funny. There's a couple different ways about being stuck or stagnant. So you can be stuck in the sense of, a lot of times I'll ask people to craft once we take your vision, your mission statement, we want to craft a intention and your, personal and professional intention. And sometimes people get stuck on creating those. And so if you are stuck in something, sometimes what I always recommend is find a template. Find something that gives you a base that you can use to adopt and change for your own. So that's sort of one thing, like if we're like, sometimes like if we're stuck with words, like sometimes it helps to actually like start picking up on other things so you can get unstuck, right? So you can focus your attention on something else. In brainstorming, I actually have been trained as a master brainstorming professional. One of the things that you do is you throw out these things called detours. And detours, it's like, so we could be talking about, let's just say, marketing my cup, right? And I'm going to talk about all the marketing. And I'm like, I'm not coming up with anything. And all of a sudden, we're going to come out with some detours. And we're going to focus on something totally outlandish. And I might say, okay, write down all the things about Elvis that you can think of. Okay. So you come up with a detour and you think about all those things. And then you bring it back to what you were thinking. And sometimes it just changes our setting in our brain because we've made that detour. And we need to do that same thing with our lives. Or if we're stuck, what do we need to do? Write out all the things that we want. And then we can look at something crazy or take a time to go for a hike and put yourself in a different scenario so that you can come back and be where you are. Now, the other thing that I always say to people, again, it comes back down to, looking at our vision and our missions. Sometimes if we're stuck where we are because we're not feeling excited about what we're doing, we have to go back and look at that mission and our vision statement. Once you write that vision and mission statement, it's not something to take and put in a book and put aside, whether it's a company or whatever. You need to write it and look at it and breathe it. It's one of the reasons why vision boards are also so great, because if you craft and make a vision board and you can look at it, you should read it every day. It should have a huge saying on it so that you see it every day and it becomes your mantra.
Powerful. I would take that as a final thought. So for folks who would like to reach out to you, Jaclyn, like, everything we've been talking about and they would love to learn more or even, ask some questions and more, how can that be possible?
So the best thing to do is go to my website. Go to leaptoyoursuccess.com. Go all the way to the right on the menu bar and click contact. Fill it out, message me, connect with me. I do a complimentary session. And if that complimentary session is helping you become unstuck, great. If it's to help you have what I call an unstoppable audit, let's figure that out. But let's connect. I've got actually a couple open spots. So connect with me, go to leaptoyoursuccess.com and hit connect.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Jaclyn. Thank you for coming and thank you for blessing our ears and our minds with these amazing words. Thank you so much, Jaclyn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.